Meeting clerk, could you please read the roll call?
Councilman Migan?
Here.
Councilwoman Snow?
Here.
Councilwoman Pitt?
Here.
Councilman McCarthy?
Here.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Here. Please stand and follow us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. First item on the agenda this evening is acknowledgement of minutes for the, I'll make a motion for November 6th. Could I have a second?
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. November the 13th is one that I had missed, so Councilman McCarthy, I'll ask you
I
to
make a
the
motion for November 13th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item up would be privilege of the floor with respect to agenda items only. Anyone with any comments regarding agenda items, come on up, state your name and address for the record, and please, if possible, try and keep your comments around 3 minutes.
Gail Zelazny, Pawling, New York. I'm also the town justice, and I'm here to speak on the resolutions regarding the health insurance, 146 and 156. First of all, I reiterate my comments from before that I understand that health insurance is really expensive, but I really feel like the option of MVP is really being incentivized, and employees, and myself included, are feeling that the only choice is really to go to MVP, and it's a hard choice when you have a family situation where you're not really sure if everything you need is going to be covered. And it makes me feel like the town board is in some sense, taking individual lives into their own hands and making a decision that is not necessarily in all of our best interests. I also really don't understand this push to do it right now, because at the budget meeting, there was a presentation by your bookkeeper, and all the doom and gloom of the rates going up, and expecting it to be this horrific number of an increase, and her budget assumed a 15% increase for the insurance premiums. And in fact, I believe that it was more around 7.5% of an increase with the night ship rates. And in fact, the family plan rate, which I note that your resolution only included the rates for MVP, which I think it's very hard for people to make decisions when they don't have all the information. I did go on the night ship website, and it is there, but I do think it would have been a little more fair and transparent if you had, in fact, given the rates in your resolution. I don't know why they weren't there, but it doesn't sit well with me. But I did look at the night ship website, and I found the rates, and the increase between the Empire plan from last year to this year is, for the family plan, is 71 cents. 71 cents. I don't see how we can't afford that. I also would like to point out, I'm sure you're aware, but it's December. It's the beginning of December, and there are options that employees might make that have been closed out to them because of certain window periods. I don't see what the rush is. The budget was approved with that big increase, so clearly the money is there to stay with night ship. You've got a union contract that's going to be negotiated next year. Why can't we stand back, pause, and do a global resolution of this? Because right now there's different classes and different categories of employees, and your head spins when you read all the different resolutions about healthcare that have been made since 2001. There's who's paying this percentage and who's paying that percentage, and the differential between this and that. There's no one place where it's all spelled out. And it would be a lot more transparent and fair to all the employees if there was one place and one set of one place where you could go and see what all the rules are. Now you kind of have to go through resolution by resolution. I also am curious as to why there is no longer an HRA card being provided for the night shift people who want to stay with night shift. I really felt that when we switched to the Excelsior plan, the HRA card was held out there sort of as an incentive to make employees feel better about the choice that was being made for them. And I feel that now it's taken away from the night shift employees who want to stay with night shift, and it's being dangled as an incentive to the MVP takers, and goodness knows that may be taken away again, just like it was taken away from those of us who are at night shift. It's going to be taken away from those who are an MVP when the town decides they want to go to another plan. So I just caution those employees who are thinking of switching to MVP, make sure it's going to work for you. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments regarding the agenda?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I actually have to respond to that. Doom and gloom, yeah, and head spinning. Fortunately, my head doesn't spin when I look at numbers. What I mentioned was it was the long-term concern. It was not a concern for next year, not a concern for the year after. I'm looking at 2028 because you have a 5-year plan. And what I told you is it's not viable in your 5-year plan. The estimate was based on historical facts. I work in facts and I work with numbers. The facts are, since 2022, the increase has been between 11 and 15%. Last year, the fact is your increase was almost 23% for a single plan and 49%. So 15% was trying to be conservative. We're very fortunate that the Empire plan itself came in at almost no increase. I'll bet you heavy it doesn't happen next year. With that being said, we still had an increase of 10% for a single plan and 7.5% for a family plan. We still added $90,000 of expenditure to the bottom line. I don't have the luxury of caring about myself. I work for the taxpayers of the town of Pawling, and I look at your budget as a whole. I have to look at you being under the tax cap. I have to look at you being able to handle all of your benefits for your employees and paying for your folks that are going to go into retirement with 100% paid health insurance for the rest of their lives for themselves and their spouses. I want to be able to honor that. That's what I'm talking to you about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments in regards to the agenda tonight? Seeing none, we'll move along to discussion. First item on discussion tonight is the January 2025 meeting schedule. Obviously, I'm going to have one more meeting in December prior to that, so just to get these dates out there for folks who are curious about when we'll kick off in 2025. The first meeting will be January 8th, as the first is on a Wednesday, so it will be a holiday, and the second board meeting will be January the 15th. That's good for the board, for everyone here as well?
Have we checked those dates too? We've said we'd just be mindful if there's anything that I don't know if there are any other
Anything that conflicts with that?
Yeah,
we
yes.
can.
If we could just double check that.
We'll double check and have
Thank
it back
you.
on for next week's meeting as well.
Thank you.
Just so everyone knows, the reorg meetings usually generally a pretty long meeting, so we'll just confirm that. But as of right now, it's set for the 8th.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Next item up is resolutions. We are going to try and pass some of these tonight. I know our deputy supervisor has some family commitments, and he won't be available for next week's meeting. And we usually try to keep the last meeting of the year fairly short for everyone as you're getting into the holiday season as well. So the first resolution of 135, amendment to the handbook regarding nepotism, we'll leave that on for, I know, Councilman Migan, thank you, I know you've been working a lot on this. We're going to leave this on for some more legwork and discussion and have it on for next week, correct? The next resolution is Resolution 146, setting employee health insurance contribution rates for the MVP EPO Silver Plan. This is a plan that we adopted back in May to give everyone another option. It breaks down single plans, employee and spouses, employee and children, and a family plan. So there's 4 different options to choose from to whatever fits the employees specifically. In the print, there is a cutoff on the following page. And when it printed on the agenda, it's in the paragraph, whereas any new employees hired after December 31st, 2024 will contribute 20%, and that should have been on here as the 3rd Roman numeral, but it got cut off in the print on the 2nd page, but it is in the paragraph, so I wanted to read that into the minutes as well. Any new employees hired going into 2025 are going to pay an automatic 20%, whereas current employees will be paying either 10% as of January 1, and that number will go to 15% on July 1, 2025. I'll make a motion for Resolution 146. Could I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion from the board?
Sure, I'll discuss it. I'm trying to understand this HRA card. Depending, I guess, who am I looking at?
Mike.
Oh, sorry.
Mike,
Um,
thank you.
So with the HRA, we're going to fully fund deductibles through this plan? Is that, I don't know who I'm asking the question of here.
So we are. I asked Christine if you had any information to add to this as well. I don't know, did you have a chance to speak with the healthcare provider at all as well, Marty? Councilman Migan, with any of these questions or no?
I spoke to Steve Murphy.
Steve Murphy, okay, great.
So, yes, the plan is currently to fully fund the deductible.
I mean, I just have some concerns about that I don't know if that's going to be something that we can continue year over year, right?
Well, I think I would say to that, I would say you don't know what the healthcare plan is going to be year after year, right? This is a normal change, considering, as Christine just said earlier, I mean, last year you had a 49% increase, right? This year you had much less. This is about making sustainability changes.
Well,
I don't think you can predict the future if you could.
as far as the deductible goes, Marty, and funding the deductible, there's an average, standard in the industry of use of about 40%. So, the good news is if even if we use 100%, because the rates are low enough, we still end up in a good position, but fully funding the deductible, and hopefully it comes in the neighborhood of between 40 and 60%, we could be ahead of the game, and the employees will have an HRA card. Going back to the other question about why there's no HRA card for the MVP Empire plan, there never was.
So just, could you explain that a little bit too?
Sure, because the Empire plan is a very rich plan, and there was never an HRA card offered for it. When the town decided to make the change from the Empire plan to the Excelsior plan, in order to sweeten the pot, some of the savings that the town received because of the lesser premiums, we decided to fund an HRA card to help out the employees. So, it was kind of a win-win situation. Now we're going back to what we did originally, where we're paying for this plan because the Excelsior plan went away. It's no longer offered. So if people choose to stay with the Empire plan the way they had in the past, there was no HRA card. It's not like we're taking anything away from them. They're just going back to what they had.
Yeah.
Empire plan is over 40,000 this year, right? Even with the minimal
Correct.
increase. Even with the minimal increase, it's over. What's
Yeah,
next-
the single
next- the next
for a
resolution?
family plan, it's 40,414. For a single plan, it's 17,754.
Gotcha, thank you.
So I agree with Gail that these numbers probably should have been put out there for employees.
I believe that we were waiting to see what the board's decision was tonight, and I've actually prepared a huge rate sheet with the actual rates and the deductions, and depending on what your pleasure is this evening, that should roll out tomorrow. So it's not as if the employees will not be informed. We just didn't have anything to give them.
Right, and it's a very minimal increase, Marty, January 1 and then at 10%, and then 15 in July.
Yeah,
And, there's been a lot of discussion over months about, the healthcare. Ever since last year's 49% increase came about, this has been a serious discussion.
But James, I'm going to just say, it hasn't been a discussion with the full board, though. That's my problem right now, because, listen, I know there's emails that we talk about at every single meeting, and I'm going to bring it up again. There's emails that go to a couple of board members that the full board doesn't get.
About the MVP rates?
About a lot of things, but for now, but about, like, all of these discussions, this is one of our probably second discussions, together about this. So I think that what I would have liked, I think, is instead of just one meeting with the employees, I think sometimes it works when you're changing things to bring the employees and the presenters together. It might have needed to be more than one meeting. These are just my thoughts,
Sure.
I've been a school board president. It's different, but we've done things where we have some smaller meetings. I just think that, I agree. I think that the employees should have been able to see the list. I mean, we saw them. I don't know why the employees didn't see them.
I just
but
don't
we
know
did.
but, so the numbers wouldn't have changed, though, so I guess that would be my concern. I'm sympathetic to this being for the employees. I understand this affects employees. It affects board members who take this healthcare as well. The board, elected officials pay 30% towards this healthcare plan. That's the highest in Dutchess County. It's the highest contribution that's out there. This isn't meant to hurt anybody. This is about the fact that healthcare in Pawling this year went over $1 million for the first time and is closer to 1.5 million, I think now. Is it the total number with this increase?
Well, with the reduction, with the next year's rates coming in, we're still over $1 million.
No,
And the problem, it goes back to the joke, like you add, you add so much every year, and eventually it's real money. We're adding $90,000 to $100,000 a year.
I would also like to say, and Christine, thank you for your help so far on this. But I'd also like to say, I have sent emails to this board. I'm happy to resend them all again tomorrow. I've sent emails since this healthcare discussion started.
To the full board?
With
To all of
options,
us?
yeah, with options of, hey, I'd like to
And I
see
didn't
different
get them.
contributions, just where numbers could be. This has been an ongoing discussion for a lot of meetings now.
For years, actually.
Yeah.
For years.
So it's just, but even getting to this point, when we adopted this plan in May, we had a lot of conversation, I would say this fall even, anticipating, sure, night shift rates came in lower than anticipated. That's a good thing. Last year, they came in 40% higher than anticipated. I understand employees are going to be upset. I get that. It's tough. This is a tough job to sit here and do this. But I guess my comment to that would be, what do you do when the 8,500 people who live in Pawling walk in this door and say, you're not going to make a contribution that is for the sustainability of Pawling moving forward because the rates are going out of control because the employees don't want to see changes? I mean, we've also done a really good job changing salaries and making adjustments to positions for people the last few years. These things are never made as an easy decision. There's no doubt about it. But
So-
the numbers are so high. I mean,
Let me
it's not
just
even a
get this
debate, in my
out, just
opinion.
for the record. I don't really have a problem with the 10% and the 15% for either plan. But I don't know that we should fully fund the MVP HRA. That's my only thought on it.
I think the question, is where is it going to fall? And then you won't know year over year because it's dependent upon activity. Just like when we went to the Excelsior plan, when we said, okay, we're going to have an HRA card and we're going to fund it, like we took a guess. And luckily, we've come in well under for the most part. It's the same kind of thing here. It's kind of like when you go, same thing with Dutchess County, when you say, we're going to take on the county roads. It's, you take a
Calculated
good
risk.
calculated risk. And that's what this is. It's a calculated risk.
I would also say that I don't even, the 10% and 15% is almost in line with what a lot of people are paying already.
Yes.
Well, the
elected officials-
the average we saw in the municipalities was 20.
Right. So
So I
it's
just-
not a huge increase, by the way, to anyone. We have elected officials paying 30, tax collectors, board members, judges. The 10 and 15 is a very minimal increase that just gets the ball rolling in the right direction, because I can tell you, you don't want to be sitting here a year from now and have another 49% increase in front of you and then saying, I wish we made more of a change. Like, this is a very minimal change, but it's a change in the right direction.
I'll say it again, I don't know if you're speaking to me or everybody, but I don't have a problem with the numbers, the raw numbers here. This should have been done almost years ago. It's kind of unheard of that you give,
Free healthcare.
well, the single plan is free. That's not really my experience in life. Although I didn't like the first proposal, that was a resolution that had 15% of the plan plus 100% of the difference, that was outrageous, I thought.
Certainly.
I think this is middle ground. And I'll just run through the numbers for people who don't. I'm sure a lot of employees have looked into it themselves, but for the single plan, the monthly cost to the town is $14.79. At 10%,
For night shift.
for night shift.
Yeah, but that's the next resolution.
Yeah.
So let's worry about that one, the next resolution. Let's just focus on the
Yeah,
146
the MVP
right now. I don't want to get too far off topic.
Yeah.
Christine, thank you. You can sit down now, too. Thank you so much for your help. Okay, so we have a motion, and we have a second on the floor for 146. I'll just call for a vote. All in favor of Resolution 146? Aye.
No.
Okay, Resolution 156, setting employee health insurance contribution rates for night shift Empire Plan. Again, this is already a lot of discussion, but I'm sure it'll come right back up again. And I will read these numbers in because I do agree with our judge. They probably should have been in here. So 2025, the single night shift cost is going to be prior to contributions, is $17,754, and the family plan is $40,414. And this is setting, again, the dates are different for night shift, so this won't go into effect at 10% contribution, will be March 1st, 2025, for the current non-union employees, and December 31st, 2020. Oh, I misread there, sorry about that. New employees hired after December 31st, 2024 will contribute 20%, and the 15% increase will be for non-union employees July 1st, 2025. And the reason that is non-union employees is because we are going to be into a union contract negotiation this year, and these healthcare things will be negotiated with the union for all of those employees that are represented by a union. I'll make a motion for Resolution 156. Can I have a second?
Second.
I'm sure there's more discussion, so it opens up to discussion from the board.
I'll just go through the numbers I was going to say a few minutes ago. So like you said, the yearly for a single is $17,754 thousand.
Correct.
That equates to every pay period, $68.28 towards health care. And at 15%, it's $102.43 per pay period. So it's about $51.21 a week. The family plan, like you said, it was $40,413.
414.
414. I believe employees right now that take the family plan at 15% are paying $123. Starting, I guess, March 1st, it would be $155.44. And then July 1st, was that the number?
Yes, July 1st,
It would be
2025.
$233 per pay period. So it would be $116 per week. So in essence, on the single plan, the employee portion at 15% would be $2663.15. The town would kick in $15,091. For the family plan, it would be $6,062, and the town would kick in $34,350, $156. I understand, I've struggled with this myself because I understand, I'm a blue-collar person, but I look at these numbers and overall, I would say it's within reason. And that's all I want to say about that.
Any other discussion from the board?
I guess the only other thing for me is that I just want to be clear that I understand, we are all elected to our constituents, but we also, this is my own opinion, need to serve our employees in the best way we can. I'm not saying this is not the best way, but, I did just want to, make that mention. If we didn't have our employees who are those that serve the community, that do public service, we come and go boards, but our employees don't. So I've said this before, just for the record, I'm going to say it again. I had hoped that we could take this a little slower. I understand the 5-year plan, but I understand that it was in the budget already. And that's all I'll say for tonight, but thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Snow. Any other discussion? No. Well, okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor for Resolution 156. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
No.
Resolution 157, 2025 highway material and equipment rental bids. This is a bid that goes out every single year. I want to thank, I know he's not here tonight, but I thank our highway superintendent, Bob Brill, and his clerk, Ananda. They do a lot of good work over there, and they're preparing for next year's budgets already. And what
Cheryl did a lot of work on this, so I would also like to thank her for all the work that she did on the 100-page spreadsheet that she produced for this particular bid.
Certainly, thank you to your office, Kathy, and Cheryl as well for their help on this as well. So this just covers all of the materials, equipment rentals that take place throughout the course of the year for our highway department to do all of our road maintenance and occasionally rent out other equipment when needed. Bobby does take in these bids after they're opened by our clerks, by Kathy's office, thank you very much, and then he reviews them and submits them to us for a resolution. So can I have a second for Resolution 157?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Resolution 158, 2025, refuse and recycling service bids, again, handled in, between both departments, Kathy's and Cheryl. Thank you so much for working with Bobby and Ananda on this. Again, it's 2025 rates going out to waste hauling and everything involved with the transfer station and the highway garage. These are, again, reviewed by the highway superintendent, recommended to us for resolution form. So I'll make a motion for resolution 158. Could I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution 159, revised capital project budget for the paving of Lakeside and Town Hall parking lots. I know we've had this on before, but there was a slight change when the final work was completed. When I believe it was just tonnage related. So it was over by roughly $8,000 between this building and all of Lakeside Park?
Yeah, well, Town Hall went over, Lakeside was a little bit under.
Okay. So, oh, okay.
That little curbing up, so
Sure.
the water would run off, right?
Okay, gotcha. So when they do these estimates, they take an estimate, they do their best to measure the square footage, they make an estimate of their blacktop projects based upon tonnage used, and when the final number came in, it was, that change was roughly, if I'm correct, $8,180 was what the change was overall on the $300,000+ project. So the number reads as $328,180 as a whole, but it's only a change of $8,180 from what was estimated from the beginning. So I'll make a motion for resolution 159. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Resolution 60, revised capital project budget for Lakeside Pavilion. Councilman McCarthy, thanks for all your work on this. I know it's nearing the end. I think Friday is the completion, the anticipated completion?
It should be done before Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just a
There's just
few
minor
odds and ends with the
things.
electricians, or?
The electrician's doing the underground now, and That's the major thing we're waiting on. And then we're waiting for the weather to change so we can finish the last 2 coats of sealer on the roof of the pavilion platform, or patio, I guess you call it.
When do
So,
we receive the funding?
so we're going to get, so we spoke about this today briefly with our bookkeeping department. So we were going to submit a month ago. The reason we held off is because we knew we were within December, we were going to be completed. And rather than paying for, administrative work to submit for reimbursement and then submitting again at the end of the year, we're submitting once because it was within a month anyways. So we're going to be, I think the total reimbursement coming back on this will be around $500,000, Councilman McCarthy, is that correct?
Correct, it'll be 500,000. We're just
500.
waiting for the last few invoices for the project to submit it all to Parks and Rec at one time.
This way, just the admin costs were kept down then, Councilman, rather than doing it twice, because it was so close together. And this change too, when the project started, the anticipation was to have this pavilion and have things completed. There's other grant applications that'll go through, and then will be a discussion and a decision whether to move forward with the pavilion or not. But in the meantime, to get what's currently there usable, rather than doing the railings when the pavilion goes up, this change is gonna be to do the railings now, so that if we don't go forward with the pavilion, and if we didn't qualify the grant, or if we did qualify and chose not to do it anyway, at least this project, as the building is backfilled, with the railings in place, and we met with our building inspectors out there to go over as well, the railings will be within code, which will allow that patio, and it was essentially as a rooftop, it's also doubles as a patio, to be utilized, which is why a few months ago, we made a change in the waterproofing covering that was there. Remember, there was a talk about using that, that water barrier, but in anticipation of us potentially not getting the grant or not moving forward with the third phase, we went away from that and went with a concrete finish that is waterproofed. And now with the railing, that rooftop will be used as a patio when that building is backfilled. So people will be able to go up there to be picnic tables, things of that nature, so that whenever the project moves forward, it can, but in the meantime, it'll be completely usable for the public as well.
So when is that scheduled to happen?
When, we haven't scheduled the railings yet. This is,
You gotta just approve the funding.
yeah, so the funding will go in, you know,
He said he would have the material in 2 weeks.
okay, great. So that's what that is. That's what make this thing usable, rather than having a space there that, if the pavilion didn't go up, you wouldn't have to have a construction fence around it or people not be able to utilize it. And Wendell, you've had some fill brought in over there already around part of that building?
Yeah, part of it, yeah. We still have almost 7 feet to go.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll make a motion for Resolution 160. Could I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion from the board on this? All in favor of Resolution 160? Aye. Resolution 161, Budget Amendment Fiscal Year 2024. Again, Christine, thanks for being here. These are on every month. What's that? I'll do it next week?
Oh, wait, I just want to do the one tonight, and then the rest will be for next week.
Okay, that's fine. So we can do one, you want 161 passed tonight?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Okay, so I'll make a motion for Resolution 161. Could I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 162, resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign and submit application to the State Comptroller's Office approving the establishment of Sewer District Number 4. We did this, when did we adopt this, Nancy?
September 4th, I believe,
September, and then we had the 30-day period.
for a permissive referendum.
Okay, so this is, it's great to see it moving forward, and I want to thank our mayor and their front of trustees being here as well. We're continuing to expand the sewer district. We have this, great plant up there working, and this gives us the ability to run sewer down Route 22. So this now, so Nancy, just so I'm correct, after we adopt this resolution tonight, this will be submitted within the next week to the comptroller for review?
It should be ready by the end of the week for your signature, yes.
Perfect. Is there anything else I left out of there, or do you like to add, or is that good like that?
No, that's good, you've covered it.
Perfect. Can I have a second for 162?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Next item up will be town board items for special consideration and new business. I'll start with Councilwoman Pitt.
I was just curious about the Dewey Lane Bridge, where we are with that, by chance?
Yes. So we, I can answer that for
Okay.
So we actually had emails back and forth with them a lot this week, and as recently as today, geez, it was later in the day today, right after lunchtime, they finally came through. To kind of speed up the process with DOT, we have DEC approval on things
Right.
already with Dewey Lane.
Yeah.
So with the DOT issue, I know they're very busy. I forwarded these emails on yesterday, and we included our state senator and our state assemblyman on it, hoping to get some more traction on things. And we got a reply today that they had done a historic review of the surrounding areas. It's basically a list they had to check off. It came through fine with that, and they told us to expect a final approval in the next few days, was their answer to us today. So the second that's done, we'll be meeting back with our engineers to make sure there's nothing else changing, and we'll get this project out to bid. That was just this afternoon that it came through.
Very good.
And at West Main Street Culvert as well, we got a positive update as well today, Mayor. So we're hoping to have that moving forward very quickly. I know Jamie from Hogan and Rossi is working on that, but that's seems to be nearing an end as well, and we'll be able to move forward and get that project out to bid as well. Thank you.
Thank you. That was it for me.
Councilman McCarthy?
I have nothing. I'm sorry I won't be here for next week's meeting, so I just wish everybody a happy and safe holiday season.
Thank you. Councilwoman Snow?
Thank you. I just wanted to report back that we had the Sunday before Thanksgiving. Deb Morawski was here to talk about Gather Round the Table, and it was a success. Everything was great. And we had 46 volunteers. A lot of people wanted to help out. So in just this being the season of, being thankful, I am thankful for all of our volunteers for not only that, but when you look through the village and just see all the lights up, getting ready for this, Friday for the rec and Saturday for the tree lighting. I know Henry's involved, and I know there's a lot of other people, but just wanted to publicly thank them for all that they do and all the time and effort they give to our community. And lastly, I don't know if everybody knows here that Olga Brandenberger will be leaving as director of the Pawling Resource Center. And she's moving to Florida, and I don't know yet if they've hired somebody, but I know they've been in the process. But I just want to publicly thank her for her service to the community, and she will be missed.
She feeds a lot of families out of there.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
pretty
she
impressive what they get done in there, for sure.
That's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, there's one thing I forgot, James. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to make sure that the board got the email I sent this afternoon about the community garden and the price quote. Roughly, it was around $1,500, I believe, for the water line to go underneath with 2 hydrants, a storage tank so they would have plenty of pressure. So I know that was something they were looking forward to. I know one of the other questions they asked if there was going to be any rent charge. So if you all maybe address that next week when I'm not here, so they know. But and I did send them a question regarding fencing. So I don't know what kind of fencing they're going to do. If they're going to do a deer fence.
Probably want a deer fence around the garden.
Well, I don't know. If not, if they decide to go with a regular standard fence, like, I have plenty of posts that I'd be happy to donate, but they're only 8-foot-high posts. And I didn't bring my pounder down and pound them for them, but I don't know if that's gonna be high enough to keep deer out. So, it's not high enough to keep deer out. But I don't know exactly what they wanna do, so you can pass that on too.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Councilman Migan?
Sure. I just want to mention, we do have at least one, we have expiring terms at the end of this year, which is next month, for the Planning Board and the Zoning Board of Appeals. One Planning Board member has already said he's not going to continue. We need to get it out there for both the Planning Board and the Zoning Board to interview applicants, if anybody's interested. That should be done ASAP, based on the fact that we only have one more meeting this month, and then we'll be into next year. So how does that actually happen?
Yeah, so we advertise every time these terms are coming up. We re-interview the people whose terms are up on the board, obviously, and then we get advertised
Have
to
you
the public.
interviewed the terms that are up? Because I'd like
Not yet.
I'd like to be involved with
Yeah,
that,
not yet,
just
we
so you
haven't.
know.
We're on the second wave of the CAB interviews, I think this
Yes.
weekend they're scheduled for. And we have a lot of applicants there, which is great. I know something that we did speak about briefly was some of these folks are interviewing so well, they may potentially, if they don't choose to be on the CAB, they could be a planning or zoning applicant.
So I want to be involved in the planning and zoning.
And we have, absolutely,
applicants.
and we have
Not
had
just the applicants, but also the.
interview process. And we did have
Aspiring
one,
members.
we did receive one email from a former zoning board member who already reached out and said, hey, if there's opening, he saw the meeting, he said, if there's openings, I'd love to be considered for reappointment.
So is there a form that people need to fill out and send in a resume? Because, like I say, that should be done.
We can get it out there probably even as soon as this week.
Okay.
But it's something that we would do for sure and have on air before our January 8th reorg meeting. We would be, yeah,
done,
for sure.
obviously.
I would just like to say for the record, I don't believe that we have ever re-interviewed people who are already on these boards and who, have, contributed consistently and have, over the course of their 3-year term, made a difference. And, so what are we speaking about now? Having them reapply. They always have to send in their letter that they still want to be involved. So these people who have had 3 years of never missing meetings, being part of consistent conversation to make, effective change in the town of Pawling, we're going to have these people re-interview again?
Well, before we automatically appointed them, it was, if the seat was up, we probably, I can't remember exactly how many years ago it was, we started advertising for positions that were coming available, and then we interviewed if we had applicants come in, and the person who was already sitting was always given the opportunity for an interview as well, and then, like you said, submit a letter to say if they want to be involved. This year is a little different. We do have a current board member who's leaving.
Right, so for I understand for current board members who are leaving where there's a vacant position, but as far as people who want to stay on, who have been consistent, that's what I'm wondering about, if we are going to be re-interviewing to
Yeah, for a seat.
potentially bounce them out of their spot with other applicants who are interested.
So I guess, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I guess
I personally don't see any downside
well,
to
I
it.
think the thing would be, Councilman Pitt, is then you would never have any rollover, right? You would have a board that stays until people wanted to leave. Now, listen, predominantly, the current board members have always re-interviewed and been reappointed because they're, quite frankly, they were the most qualified the first time around. Why would they not be qualified the second time around?
Right, but that being said, we just wouldn't reappoint that individual.
Sure, training and attendance-wise, like you said, that's something that we've always asked for, too, before we reappoint. We do always ask for attendance records
Yeah.
to see how many meetings they make and to make sure their training is up to par.
I mean, let's see who's out there. You don't know. We could get a rocket scientist that wants to apply.
We've had folks apply who are really great.
Right.
We've had folks who, we've had members who we've appointed who didn't work out well. And there's times where we don't get any applications back, right? We put it out there and not had any applications at all. Because there's 2 up this year, correct? Is there, I think there's 2 seats up this year?
There was a list that got sent out. I don't recall exactly who was on it. I think it was 2 from each.
I think Mr. Bernard
Board.
is up, and I don't
Job.
remember, and Steve.
Job.
Job
Yeah.
is up, yeah.
Job's leaving.
Yes, he's the one that's stepping away.
Steve is stepping
And
down.
anybody from the ZBA?
I think there's 2 on the ZBA as well, if I remember correctly.
And have we gotten any letters of intent to stay from anybody?
From plannings and zoning.
Or zoning?
Yeah,
either
I
one.
think they started coming in. I'll double check tomorrow.
Okay.
Every year, even like,
Greg and Aaron have sent their letters in.
yeah,
I
even the
believe.
chairman, so we reappoint every year, and they used to have to send a letter in requesting to stay as
So
well.
with that being said, are we going to interview for chairman as well? We're going to have to, if we
I
go
get-
for that
you
route,
know,
down that route.
We've always kind of taken the planning board and the planning board secretary's recommendation on chairman, but that could be a further discussion for sure.
Just saying, you might want to keep it consistent.
Certainly.
So the other thing is that Nancy was nice enough to put up a RFQ, or send it, we haven't posted it yet, professional planning and engineering consultant services. I myself would like to RFQ every professional service that we have, not because I think, not based on job performance, but just based on Let's see what other people have to offer. We want to keep our cost in line as well. So I'm for RFQing or RFPing, I'm not sure, for a grant writer, either a single person or a company, whatever, keep it open. And also, and no offense, Nancy, but for attorneys.
We could also, if you'd like, I could circulate an email to the supervisor and mayor list of Dutchess County and get an idea of who other towns are using and what their costs are, if it helps.
I would like to just put out I don't know where we do it, if we do it in the Poughkeepsie Journal, if we do it on Indeed.com, or just through our Facebook and online presence, but I don't see any like I say, I don't see any downside to it. Now, there may not be an upside, but let's find out, right?
If you're going to RFQ all professionals, you might want to add information technology, our computer support people.
Okay.
What about financial advisor? Financial
Yeah.
advisor?
But for financial advisors also.
Yeah, my understanding was best practice was
Bond
anybody that
counsel.
we use.
Bond counsel.
There's hardly any of them out there, though. Everybody uses the same firm.
Sure.
So I'm not looking to open up a can of worms, but these are just a couple of the ones that I thought, let's just see that the costs are in line. And
Certainly.
what other,
And in the meantime, I'll get some information from other towns too, so we can start gauging what other communities are
I mean,
paying costs.
as much money as we got for grants, it's cost the town a tremendous amount as well. So let's just look at what's out there.
Thank you. Anything else, Councilman Mikan?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Again, just to piggyback off what Councilwoman Snow said, it was really great to see everyone get together around the table. It was nice. It was spearheaded by someone who's not a politician and not just someone who wanted to make a difference in the community. It was really nice. Huge, overwhelming amount of turnout. I'd hoped to be there more myself. Unfortunately, we did have a water break over in Holmes. So that's where we spent Saturday afternoon and Sunday in Water District Number 2. But that did get repaired, and that those people are back up running. They were only down with water for Saturday into Sunday, and then by Sunday afternoon it was repaired and back up and going. So that's great. But do you remember roughly how many meals you guys put out that day?
I think the total was around 90. We had a lot more deliveries than people coming in, and then we had a follow-up meeting, and some of the, I guess, seniors didn't realize they were able to come. So we've got that out too, because we had heard from Robin from the seniors that go to the senior lunches, as well as Mark, who he and his wife are on the committee, who does meals every week at the Methodist Church, that the seniors were like, we don't really know if we should have come or not. So everybody's invited, and they just have to register.
Perfect.
So we're looking forward to that on December 15th.
December 15th. Okay, so that's the next one.
Yes.
And thank you to our mayor. I know you were there helping out as well.
Yeah.
And then also, Robin just wanted to, our rec director just wanted a quick plug for the Great Inflate, which is this Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. They added a dedicated drive-through time of 4 to 5 p.m. And thank you to Robin, Danielle, Christian, and Colleen, who put up over 120 inflatables at Lakeside Park. This thing's really come a long way from the first year we did it. So over 120 pieces now going to be lit up. It's going to look great. And they have just over, as of this afternoon, 650 people registered for the walkthrough, and 70-plus cars registered as well. And the Recreation Department will be having a light nights. Those dates will be announced via the Pawling Rec Facebook page and through the Pawling Rec Department email blasts. So stay tuned for that. I know Rob and her staff, Wendell stepped out, I guess. Wendell and his crew obviously done a huge amount of work over it. It's a lot of work setting up all these inflatables. We'll have a lot less generators running this year because Wendell and his crew were able to get that whole lighting project done in the park this year. And one of the things they were able to do, planning ahead, was we have outlets along those ways. So to be able to plug these things in, because it's been such so well attended and piggybacked off of the weekend, coupled with the village and the tree lighting, that they did the electric around the park and around the circle, and it makes it a lot easier for Wendell and the crew and Robin and her crew to run these extension cords and get all these 100-plus inflatables lit up. So we look forward to seeing everyone this Friday and Saturday in the village. What time is that, Mayor, in the village?
I think it's 5 or 5:30.
5 or 5:30. And the fire department's bringing in Santa Claus again? And light the tree. Perfect. So it's a busy day, Friday and Saturday in Pawling, so we look forward to seeing everybody there. And if that's it from everyone, we will open the floor with respect to agenda and non-agenda items. Please state your name and address for the record and try and keep your comments around 3 minutes.
Don't know how to do this. Stand on my tippy toes.
You can bend it down. It'll bend down. Yeah, the whole wand should come down.
Oh, okay, got it. Gail Zelazny, Pawling, New York, Town Justice. Since Supervisor Schmidt did mention it, I would like to address the health insurance rate for elected employees. 30% is a number I have never heard of until I took this job. And I would bet there is no one in this room who pays 30, other than Councilman McCarthy, who also takes the health insurance, that pays 30% of a premium for health insurance. I understand, again, that it's expensive, and I although I disagree with your rush to do it this year, I do think 10% and 15% are reasonable numbers. I don't think 30% is reasonable. It just makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. And I really would urge the board to reconsider the 30% contribution for elected officials. Frankly, I'd be happy with the 20. I mean, the difference between 30% and 20% of the premium is huge. And I am a municipal employee. I worked on Thanksgiving because I got called out. I had to leave where I was and come back and do that. I'm not complaining, I'm just saying that, and we did 2 arraignments over the weekend, one at midnight and one at 1:30 in the morning. So, it happens that we have to come out and do it. So I just really would ask that you reconsider the 30% for elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to adjourn and go into executive session to discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, or removal of a particular person or corporation. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.